Hey, what's up? I started taking this apart and I figured, hey, let me make a review of this. So, I have the Vevor Hat press. Find it on Amazon or wherever the hell they sell them, Vevor website. I was having issues with this. The heat wasn't stable on the edges. So I figured how to fix it or why it's doing it. Then I realized when I took it apart, which I just take the top off, four screws, and the top comes off. You have to like fight it. You got to like really fight it to get it off. But once you get it off, it simply just comes all the way up. You just kind of push it off and then you fight the edges, these things, to get it off. No big whoop. It's all chewed up. Oops, all chewed up. Just to get it off. So we can get a better angle. You see? It's all chewed up just to get it off. You gotta like really fight it and push it off. But it's not complicated to get it off. And when it comes, this piece, these things, they just slide out. They come like folded like this in here. So you know, one side's hot and the other side's like totally clean because it came in like this. It came like that, with the edges like this. And then this metal piece wasn't even touching the aluminum. That is the problem. So if you have one, I don't know if you fix it by the time by the time you're watching this video, but when I got mine, this wasn't even touching the metal piece here, the aluminum. So when you get one, you're gonna have to literally take this whole piece apart. Hopefully Vevor watches and fix it, because this is literally the problem. Why it's not heating evenly across the whole hat press. This thing also is horrible. It don't flex at all when you put the hats. It's not curved. It's not curved right, and that's the truth. It's just not curved. It's not curved properly. So when you put the hats on it, when you put your hats on it, it doesn't fold. The hat don't sit properly on it. So it's just not designed properly. So what I did was I ripped off one of the other ones I had, and when I put the hats on here now, I have enough cushion for the hats to actually sit right when you put the hats down. It's just a design flaw. Like the thing itself works great. It's just the design flaws, which is this thing. It's not bent properly, so you have a problem there. And the padding is they can put more padding on it. I think that will solve the problem. They can just keep the same bend but put more padding, because when I put more padding on mine, it actually helped. So there's that. They can actually just add a thicker pad on it, and I think we'll fix the issue with the hats not sitting right. But beyond that, everything else on it actually works pretty decent. Like this you get really good tension on your hats when you have them on. This comes down, automatically releases. Which is really, really nice. I like that because I like to set stuff and forget about it. That's just me. I get distracted real quickly, so I'll put it on, turn around for 2 seconds, and forget that it's there, and I'll probably end up burning the hat or something. Or this just pops right back up when it's done. I'm gonna try to do like a demo. I don't have a hat to do, but I'll just try to do a demo anyways of it. So I just take this out. I'm gonna try to show you how to fix it, and you just pop these out of here. I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix this issue, because I'm gonna do the same exact thing. The only difference is I'm gonna add a piece, because I already, as you can see, I already fixed it. I already adjusted this, so now it's sitting flush on the metal, which it should have been from the beginning. Because when I got it, there was like a gap between here and this. So only the center piece here was actually touching the aluminum, so that only the center would get hot, and then the edge would be like really cold. So I just bent this a lot more. I bent this metal a lot more, as you can see. So now it sits flush, but I'm still having heating issues on the ends. So it still heats to about here. The heat will be about even. So somewhere about here, the heat will be even. And when we get to the ends, it's like it's not. So I want to adjust this some more so the heat actually goes to the metal and away from this. And if you notice, look at the thing. See how it's burnt to all hell, which means all the heat sits here, and very, very little goes to the end. So I'm gonna fix that, and I'm gonna use this thing, thermal paste. You take thermal paste, it takes the heat away from the metal that's pushing off the heat and transfer it to another metal that has no heat. That's how thermal paste works. So I'm gonna try it out, and I'm gonna show everybody how it works. First, I'm gonna show you exactly how the heat is on here, because I want to have an idea of how much it changed when I actually add the thermal paste. Right now it's not on there, so I'm gonna add thermal paste after, and I'm gonna show everybody. You and anybody else who watched the video. Okay, so let me show you how to take this thing apart. First, we want to get in these screws. There's like 4 of them. 1 here, 2 there, 3 there, 4 there. You know what I mean. Screws. So I like to use this angle thing. I'll just press it in here and just screw it out. You don't have to unscrew them, just loosen them up some. When I get it out, I'll show you what the screws look like. And one of these screws are totally chewed up. Once you loosen it, it just slides out. Kinda, sorta. There we go. They just slide out. See? These little knobbies they sit on. They just slide out. And then this thing, same thing. You just kind of get a screwdriver, poke it in the holes, and unscrew this. Right here, just screwdriver, screw them out. Yeah, tighten out of it because I wanted it to stay in place. Same concept, it just slides. Once it's loose enough, we'll just slide right out. Again, you're trying to do it without breaking these wires, so that's why I'm kind of like moving a little slower. Oh, never mind. These don't slide out. I leave this in here. And I'm going to tell you exactly why you leave it in here. You can slide from the top, but I wouldn't do that. The reason why you want to leave it in there is because of this. This thing right here is actually glued in. Try to get you close to it. I'm going to try to show you. But it's actually glued in there. See it? It's actually glued in there. So you kind of want to not pull that out. Just want to leave that where it is. And you can't really slide it out because you see it's glued right where the thing sits. So, I'm put you back in place. Now that you're back in place, what you want to do is just take the screw all the way out. The things won't move. So just unscrew it completely. Not really a big deal. There it goes. That falls out, that falls out. Let me get this. This falls out. Ow, that hurts. Fuck, I'm in pain today. Excuse the French, but I'm in a lot of pain today. So just get the screws out. And those things they just fall right out, see? They just fall right out. You're going to put it in quite simple, so don't worry too much about it. Now, all the heat, as you can see, just sits right here. And it don't go anywhere. So what I'm going to try to do is take this thing and I'm going to try to get as much of this stuff. Oh, this one's empty. I'll get the other one. All right, so I got the other one. I'm just going to put as much of this on here as possible because I want it to really transfer the heat from that metal plate into this aluminum. I literally emptied the whole thing on here. It's all in here, all of it. The whole can's finished, or tube, whatever you want to call it. Ooh, I'm in a good amount of pain right now. Make a sound, but I don't want my tick, so. So I'll spread the thing on here. And all I gotta do is put it back together. And it really don't take much to put it back together. Just push it in here. Now when I got it, let me show you this real quick. When I first pulled it apart, this thing was almost curved like this. It was like really curved. So when you put it on top of this thing, it wouldn't sit. So I just kind of, I grabbed it and I flexed it out. Like I literally bent it out like that. Just bent it out so it's flat. See how flat it is? Now when I put it back on, it's going to straighten itself back out. It's going to curve itself again, which is fine. Which is what you want it to do. You want it to touch the edges. Get away, cat. See, it won't fit. You see, it's not curved, so it won't fit right. So you have to just kind of like, you have to force it to fit. So you have to like bend these edges back in. When you bend these edges back in, it will actually fit. Just push the edges, just these edges, just push them back in. And there we go, see? And don't worry, just push it back in. It won't damage nothing. It's metal to metal, what you're going to damage, right? And just keep pushing these edges into it until it slides in. There we go. That's what I wanted. Wanted a heat paste. All spread across it. Yep, that's what's going on. Perfect. Now I just gotta screw it in place. Like I said, I want the heat from the center because the heat plate is right here. The heat plate is like right in the center. So all this thermal paste would take the heat and push it down in here where you really want it down through here. And it's simple to put it in, just slide these things back in there. And screw it in. It's gonna take you some fight to get it in, but once you get it in, you'll not regret it. But it will take you a minute to get it in. No doubts. Like I say, it takes a little bit to get it in, but you know, once you start screwing it in, it's going to be easy to put it in. If you have excess, it's fine. It's not like it's toxic or nothing. It'll be fine. Some paper towel, wipe it right off. See, gone. Now just get the other one on. This one already has a screw on the one side, the holder, so just, if you have something magnetic, it helps. I'll just place this and screw it in. And again, this is for whoever wants to fix this. You know, if Vevor wants to fix it, well, now they know what's wrong with it, all the design issues, so now they can fix it, so that when you get it, you don't have to fix it. But because I got it and it's messed up, I have to fix it. See, and now it's flat. Again. Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of it on my hands. As I tighten it up, it's gonna like really spread. So I'm gonna get a bunch of it on my hands. It's gonna come out of every corner it can. So, let me finish putting the rest of it in. It helps if you have a magnetic screwdriver. I did make this one magnetic, so it helps. Holds the screw in place. See? Nice and flat. That's what you want. So the heat goes into the aluminum base plate. Because the temperature sensor is right here. This is just a heating coil. So this will be like 10 degrees higher than the end. So what I'm trying to do is force all the heat here. So this will be roughly the same temperature as here. This will always be hot because, as I said, the heat coil is right here in the center. So the heat will just spread across the aluminum, and then it will keep a better constant temperature. That's what I'm trying to get to. Because you do your design or you do your press, and then one part of it's on and the other part isn't, and then you end up burning the middle because it's not controlled, the temperature's not controlled properly. So this should hopefully fix that problem. And thermal paste is cheap, so they can literally put some thermal paste on here. It really don't take much, and if they design it properly, I guarantee they'll even use less thermal paste than I'm using. So you just push it in here and just screw tight. And as I tighten it, you see how it's closing. As I tighten it in, it starts to close that distance. And that's what you want. You want it nice and flush to this metal. When I have it, like when I got it, it was literally, there's a gap all the way around. And now look at it, it's nice and tight. See, the thermal paste is spitting out of here. Now it's clean. Clean it up. Wipe up all the excess. And this is done. And I won't show you anything about previous or past, so you can do it yourself. Get a heat gun. They sell them all over the place. Find somebody, if you know somebody already have one, borrow it. Put it on yours and see what the temperature is. And now I'm going to put it back up together, and then I'm going to measure the temperature. See what the temperature is doing. So just slide this out. Oh, when you're taking this off, this little piece right here, just pop it out. It comes right out. So this thing glides back and forth. Stuff and shove it somewhere. Really won't hurt none. Twist these. It's little clips. You'll see it. Little angles on the bottom. So this just slides right into them. It helps if you like turn it a little bit more so you get a little bit more room to work with. And this thing just wobbles everywhere, so this is why it's so hard to get back on. But if you fight with it long enough, you'll get it on. And then there's a groove here. The bottom of this slides in this groove on both sides. Like I said, this thing just keeps flopping around. I mean, there's a few ways to do this. I just do it this way. If you put them on even at the same time, both sides slide on together. See, it goes on. I don't know. Sometimes I like to fight stuff. Just line them up as best as you can, actually. And just push, see? Just line them up in the back. The little knobby things, line them up and then push. It just slides right on. Same thing on the other side. Just line it up best you can. I know it don't look like I'm in pain, but I'm in a lot of pain. Right now I'm really hurting. But I'll post one of my movement disorder. Why I'd rather be in the pain. I'd just rather suck up the pain, and when you see it, you'll understand. Understand why I'd rather bear the pain than deal with the movement disorder. I mean, see I just keep coming out of here. The more tension goes on this thing, it's just gonna keep just spreading everywhere. So eventually be thermal paste probably right across the whole thing. But this alignment don't want to work. Oh, goodness. Oh, that's it down. That hurts. Ah, here we go. Oh, it keeps jumping out. Really is a pain to adjust. Let me take out the screw some more. There we go. I just unscrewed it a little bit more and just slid right in. That one's in place, and there we go. And your hand's gonna look something like that. Because of all the thermal paste I used. Hold on, my camera's gonna die. Let me get the battery. Actually, it's not dying, but I just like to charge it. So guarantee don't run out on me. All right, so I put battery on there. That's charging. I know my videos don't have high entertainment value, but they're educational videos. Entertainment is the least of my problems. As long as you see what I'm doing, so you can do it yourself. That's all that matters to me. Quality over quantity. Oh, sorry. In this one, it's function over aesthetics. That's my videos. They don't need to look pretty. They just need to pass. They just need to show you, give you the information you need. So here we go. Now I tighten this back up. You don't have to be really, really tight. Just tighten it. Just snug the screws up. It's not going to go anywhere. Same thing with the back one. The first time I did this, I literally just kind of go into town on the screws, and I tend to damage a lot of them. You don't have to do all that. Just snug them up. That's good enough. You start moving, you're done. Like I said, it's not going to go anywhere. Snug it up. Once it's snug, it's done. Snug, see, not going to go there. That's nice and flat. That's what you want. Some of this is eventually going to come over here. When, I don't know when. It's going to do it whenever it feels like it. Yeah. So you can tighten it a little more. Yep, that's good. It's all nice and tight. That's nice and tight. Now let me plug it in. Now, when I turn it on, you should be able to see the temperature. Let me go get my heat gun. This, I just slide it back in here like so. All this really does is keep the heat off of this thing. That's all it's for. And it's fiberglass, so you probably won't get it everywhere if you don't do it right. If you shred it too much. You can pull this back out. Flip that like this. On the pad side down. Just keeping the heat inside the machine and not on the top metal. I do it like this. Like I say, this thing was folded in half and tucked in here. I just do it this way because I think it works out nicer. Plus it keeps this thing from sliding all the way around. So it kind of just keeps it nice and tight in here. Put it out any way you want to put it. This is just how I do it. Now that's on. Turn the machine on. That's going to heat up. $126. Hope you can see that. $100. So I'm talking about the temperature from here to here is it varies wild. But you see it's coming up though. 177, 120 something, 189. 147, but you see now, you see how the heat's spreading. 200, 150, that gap is closing. 210, 158. This gap is going to close eventually. Once the heat starts to spread, the gap will literally between here and here start to shrink. Because of course because it's heating here, the element is going to get a lot hotter than the edges. But give it enough time, the edges should start heating up with matching the middle. 198, 264. So give it some time. And as it heats up, you see it. See how the thermal paste start to spreading some more? That's kind of what you want. Because it gets softer and it starts to transfer the heat from the center to the plate. I like to clean it up. Again, like I said, just make it nicer, especially when you start doing your designs, start putting your designs on your hats. The last thing you want to worry about is thermal paste on it. I'll clean it up some more before I even put anything on here. Under here. Make sure there's no thermal paste anywhere. Because as it gets hot, the thermal paste is going to just start spreading more. $256, $290, $366, $295, and then as soon as everything settles, $351. The ends should start getting higher while the middle cools off. See, $345, $294, $338, $296. See, this is what's going to happen after it starts to settle down, because it has to heat up first, which is the center is going to just keep heating up till the thermostat gets enough temperature. 251, 281. See what I'm talking about? The thermostat is here, where the thermostat should be somewhere more closer to the center, or even stretch across the whole thing, but it's just right in this little corner here. 137. Let me do it like this. There we go. 276. 283. See how it's not that far now. It's not that far apart, the temperature. And the reason why, see, 276. Now I see the temperatures leveling out. 272. 273. See how the temperature now is like almost even on both sides. It was never like that. 287. 288. See what I'm talking about? Now this is kind of what I want. That's what you want. You want the temperature to be more even all the way across. See how now it's not that far apart now from the temperature. 266. It's going to keep spreading the temperature around, which is what you kind of want. 275. Perfect. Look at that. 261. Now it's going to level out, and then it's going to keep this temperature where it's supposed to be. When I put the cap on, it's going to keep even more temperature in here, more heat in here. See, 270. This is what you want. The center is not that far off from the ends. See? The center is not that far off from the ends anymore. That's what I was talking about. It's not even 10 degrees. Where it was a lot, when I did it the first time, it was way more than 10 degrees. 254. 243. It's 255. 243. So see, it's about 10 degrees off, 10 degrees from the center. That's what you want. Now it's heating again. Now let me put the cap on, and that should solve some of that issue where we'll keep more of the heat inside this housing, so so even now the ends will be even more heat things. The heat will be more regulated than it was before. So let me pop this in here. Give me a second. Let me push this in here because this wants to be a pain in my butts right now. This slides, so you just slide it down. And pop it in a little hole. I know if Vevor does it, they'll have way more resources than I do, so they'll be able to put proper heating on here, like a proper thermal paste that will spread the heat a lot more evenly than me just buying some random thermal paste. Because the thermal paste I buy is for a computer. This is not thermal paste for this stuff. So they can get something that even be able to just spread the heat even way better than what I can get my hands on. You know, some random person. I need something to help me keep this thing from burning my hands up. The hardest part is to get the rails on in the back. Like I said, this thing is just all kind of wonky. Oh my goodness. All right. So that piece was too far down. I might have to let this cool before I even put it on. There we go. So just have to get this to line up in the back. Once it's lined up, it should work, but sometimes, like I said, it's just how this thing is. All right, so I had to get a little rough with this to get it back on. Yeah, don't forget to get rough with it. Whoo, that hurts. All right, now I got to line up the screw holes. There they are. So it really is kind of a poor design, but let's not worry about that right now. It works. And that's the truth. It works for the most part. But once you get it fixed, you knock out a couple of other stuff that, you know. Like I said, it's hot now. That's why it's so hard to get on there. When it's cool, it goes on a lot easier. I just wanted to show you the temperature difference. What I mean by once it gets heated up and it's settled, the temperature goes right back down to where it's supposed to be. If you have a heat gun, try yours. You'll see. The ends are so far off in temperature. It's not even close. This will say it'd be like 400 degrees here. Your temperature thing will set to like 300. And this thing's like 400 degrees hot. And as you can see, I was at 250 and the temperature was pretty close to it. All right, now it's back on. Turn it back on now, plug it back in. Oh my goodness. Oh, my body hurts. This stuff's painful. Oh yeah, that hurts. That really kicking some buns there. All right, now it's back on. But the main reason why I wanted to put that thermal paste in here really has nothing to do with how uneven the temperature is in here. The main reason was I would set my temperature gauge to like say 250 degrees, 300, 600, 250, 260, 280, 300, whatever temperature I set it at. And then this heat thing would be like 50 degrees higher. That's how much the difference was. It would be that much higher, like 50 degrees higher than where it needs to be. So I was always burning something. Always burning something. So ever since I adjusted that temperature thing, it's been running a lot better. And I'll try to show you as soon as it settles. Give it like a minute after it settles. And you'll see how the temperature almost matches this. It's like about 4 or 5 degrees off, which is exactly what you want. You don't want to set something to 300 degrees. And next thing you know, you're burning up stuff because you think it was 300 degrees. Sorry, so it says 250 here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me start moving you around. Now that I could have my hands back. It's 250 here. So you have it back together. It's all back together. These are the rails I was talking about. These rails, they fit weird. Get this thing to adjust. There we go, see? They fit right up under here. So this is a part that's the hardest to get it in, just to get these grooves to fit these black things. And that's the hardest part. So that's the hardest part of the whole deal. All right? So now it says 250. Touch it, agree. Now let's see how hot this thing actually is. 287. 245. Give it some time, you'll see. Temperature come right down, 265. See what I'm talking about? It's off, but not by a whole lot. 263. See, 10 degrees. Usually, and if you give it enough time, it will come right back down. See how high the top is from the bottom? But now it's settling, see it? So I'm doing that edge right there. What's that? 257. Doing this edge right here. 255. Do the center. 259. So I'm talking about, that's what that does. That literally takes the temperature and evens it out almost evenly across the whole base of your thing. That's what you want. This is what I want. I don't know what anybody else, but that's what I want. So that when this does heat up again, it's at the right temperatures. 246. Now that it's settled. See it? That is good stuff right there. So now when I make my prints, now heat just kick on. It won't go too high with the temperature. It will stay roughly in that same ballpark, which is what I want it to do. So they won't. So you get what I'm saying? See if I can get this at real time. That's the center. See it? So it won't climb too far from where you want it. And it's not too bad now. It was a lot worse. This is a lot better than it was. And this side, remember, had more heat paste on it than this side. See that? It's 270 here and 258 over here. 252, that's 256. See, that's what you want. I want the temperature. And this surface is not going to tell me the right temperature because it's reflective. But you see how the heat just dispersing to the edges? See, the edges now way more consistent. The edges are way more consistent. than what it was when I just bought it. So that's me using this, setting up this Vevor thing, adjusting it. That's the one way to fix this. Hope Vevor watch this video and fix it. But as you can see, so that's me fixing this Vevor thing. Hope Vevor fix it and make this press better. But beyond that, it works just fine. When I put hats on, it works. Adjustments need to be fixed. This pad needs to be thicker. I mean, they can bend it better, but I think they just need to make the pad thicker and adjust that heat thing that I showed you to make the heat disperse better across this unit. And I think this thing will be good. Beyond that, it's okay at best. All right, peace. Okay, so this one is one without thermal paste. Yes, I end up with two of them. So this one has no thermal paste. See how high the center is compared to the sides? High center compared to the sides. Compared to the other side, that's the center. That's what it's set at. See the difference? Back up, 292 degrees. This one now, come over here, 250. Look at the center. And it's just kicked on. See the difference in temperature? Look at the sides. And that's the very edge. You have to go like this to get the actual inside because how these thermal guns work. See? Sides. Center. It's heating again. The heating element just turned on, but see how much it's not that far off from where the edges are? Back over to this one. Center. It's finally coming down now. .47. That's where that's the edge. See it? Center. Edge. See that? Now the center kicks in. See how long it takes to even heat up? Look at this thing. This thing's going back down already. This thing is up there. The edges and the center is literally all like right there. It's 48. That's 53. Again, 45, 46. That's 51. They're so close. Whereas this thing is 57. Well, this thing's going back up, and the edges didn't even fucking budge. You see what I'm talking about? 61 in the middle, and the edges finally start to move. Not even that much. I'm trying to keep this thing in focus at the same time. But see how the center's climbing, and the edges they're not even moving. Whereas this thing came on, it started to move in the middle, and the edges also starting to climb, like almost immediately. See, as the center climb, the edges climb. Whereas this one, edge is climbing, middle's climbing, and the edge barely got anywhere. Just moving. That's what, almost 20 degrees different. Where this one, the temperature is not that far off. 50, 70, 260. See that? The middle will always be higher. There's no way around that. This is how they are. But it should be that far off. That's what, 20 degrees. That's literally 20 degrees. See, that's 20 degrees. Yeah, that's about 20 degrees right there. So that's what I look at with these two, and that's why I did the change. And when I turn this one on from 0, this got so hot faster than this thing did. So there's changes. I'm gonna test it again just to make sure. But you can see the temperature differences just by putting in that heat sink. That thermal paste will help bring the temperature a little bit more stable around the edges. And this thing don't have any thermal paste in it. You see that the temperature is not technically that stable. But, teach their own. You can only show people stuff. It's up to you if you want to see if I'm telling the truth. That's down. That's where that is. That's going back up. That's where that is. Look at that size. Look at that size. That's like there's nothing there. There's this one. It's almost identical to what this. It's close to where the center is. It's not that far off. It's heating up again. But you see, the two sides are almost the same temperature. I have to make marks to line them up, so I'm measuring the same spot every time. 4 degrees here. Same temperature over here, same temperature over here. I know this thing's hard to see. So 164 over there, and then 164 over here, and 284 right there in the middle. But what's about 20 degrees? No. 2. Not spreading the temperature. 265. 260. 260. 268. So yeah, after it finishes heating up, the temperature drops and it balances out like almost immediately. See that? Look at it. It's crazy. The center is 260 and the edges are 240. So what I'm talking about? That's the difference I'm talking about. So just like I said, it don't look, it's not very, but this one, the temperature is a lot more stable on the edges. It's not as far off as this one, where the temperature is like 10 or 15 degrees here. After finish heating up, they kind of balance out a little bit more on the ends. After when it's heating up, the temperature goes up higher in the center because that's where the heating coil is, right here in the center, and then the edges get more heat as it heats up. When it finishes heats up, then the temperature in the center drops to match the edges a lot sooner than this one, or it takes a while before the center even comes down to match the edges. And then when you heat it up, same thing. It takes the center will get hot, and then the middle will take a while and heat up. When you're making, certain hats and stuff, when you have something on here that's actually absorbing the heat, then you can imagine how much these ends are going to even cool out a lot more. So that's why I modified this and put thermal paste on the inside. Again, if you ever can do it, they want to do it with the information. They want to take it, put the thermal paste in there too, flatten out the design so it touches the frame more, so they can make these things a lot better than they actually are. Okay, so I finally let them cool down. That's the temperature that they're at. So they're at roughly the same temperature now. Roughly. And I'm going to fire them up and let them heat up. Turn this one on first. This don't have thermal in it. This one does. So I'm going to show you how fast they heat up. Get this camera to go where I want it to go. There we go. Now, look how fast this thing's going to heat up. 137. 137. 167. 157. 177. 167. See how much faster this one's climbing? 190. That's crazy fast, right? You know what that means? They'll also make this thing way more efficient. Look how slow that's going up. That's barely moving. Let me turn this down like this. There you go. Better temperature. Look at that. 127. Sorry, is that 210? 212. Remember, turn that one on first. Look at this. 250. This thing's climbing. Look at that. That's what that thermal paste does. Dump all the heat into that plate. Remember, I turned this one on first. Turn on the thermal one before the thermal one. Let me say that again. I turned on the non-thermal paste one, before I turned on the thermal paste one. Look at that. That thing's at 300 already. And this thing still working on it. See? That's what the thermal paste does. So it makes it even that much more efficient. Finally getting up there. This thing's at 340. This thing just breaks 300. So there you go. My crazy experiment. That's 350 again. The heat is sitting right in this. The heat sits right here. That's where all the heat sits. So the center is going to be a lot hotter than the edges. But once it stops, as I showed you, it will literally, the temperature will start to spread. But look at that. See that? Now look at this. Now look at the edges. See that? Barely getting any heat. Look at this. It's like 50 degrees. So, thermal paste works. Non-thermal paste, not so much. All right. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do this in the rest of the video. That's my modification to this to get it to work. All right. Later.